One thing I've struggled with over the last couple weeks as a father is what to tell my kids about the death and assassination of Charlie Kirk, as well as political violence in our country. Here's 5 things that I came up with as a conservative Christian man, what to tell your kids about Charlie Kirk, life and death. Before we get into it, my name is Casey. I'm the Rumble Right Dad. I've been a therapist for 13 years, a husband and a father for more than a decade, and I have drastic concerns about where our country is headed, but also what do I tell my kids about the ongoing culture war and how it's overtaking our country in recent weeks. The first thing we should tell our sons and daughters about, well, let's just be real. I have 4 children, their ages 9 and below, so some of this may not apply to some of those kids who may have seen the brutality online, but the first thing that we should tell our children is that he belonged to Jesus first, and he stated before his death, several days before, he posted, Jesus defeated death so that you can live. And Charlie lived his life in this way abundantly.
And it's very important that when we share the gospel, the modern gospel is God has this beautiful, amazing, wonderful life for you, and if you give your life to Christ, your life will infinitely improve. That is somewhat true, but it's very misleading, because you're basically trying to sell people in Christianity of a life without difficulty. Where the better way to teach the gospel is, here's the 10 commandments. How many of these are you violating? Oh, you deserve to go to hell. And you probably will, unless you give your life to Christ. That is the proper way to evangelize.
The second thing we should tell our children about the death of Charlie Kirk is that he started young, and this made a huge difference. He made a difference as a young man, starting TPUSA at age 18 and beginning to take his political viewpoint and his faith in Christ to the streets. That faith which was initiated when he was in 5th grade, carried him into political action and action for the church, so that he, as a very young man, 31 years old, losing his life, but also as an 18-year-old, started an organization that, in fact, would provide the turning point that changed the world, at least in the United States, for the better.
What's your corporation, right?
It's a nonprofit called Turning Point USA.
Gun save lives. No free lunch.
The third thing we should tell our kids about the life of Charlie Kirk is that he stood with courage. Obviously, the nature of his death provides evidence that he was willing to go into hostile territory, and he believed in young people. He carried this message into college campuses because he believed that young people, in fact, provided the turning point for our country, and in many ways they have, as the voting bloc of young men especially went Republican in large numbers in the last election.
If you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith. I believe that we are the inheritors of a Christian society, and I do not believe we can have a free society if we are no longer back towards some belief in a higher power.
The fourth thing that we should tell our children about Charlie Kirk, his life and passing, is that he believed in honoring faith, family, and country. And he was not just a husband and dad, but he was not just a headline. He started changing the world by loving his family first, much as Jordan Peterson often compels us to do. Love your family first if you want to change the world, and Charlie believed in that wholeheartedly.
On 20th August, Erica Kirk, the wife of Charlie Kirk, shared beautiful pictures of her family on Instagram and wrote, "Life, weirdly enough, is a countdown. You don't get forever." At the time, many saw it simply as a reflection on life's fleeting nature. But today, those words feel unbearably heavy.
The last thing that we should tell our kids about the life and passing of Charlie Kirk is that his life and death mattered. This has shifted our country and in many ways galvanized a group of people to say that political violence is unacceptable. They held rallies and memorials in which people forgave their enemies, and in many ways demonstrated by a lot of candle holding and a lot of burnt wax that they were willing to go peaceably into a future of faith, fatherhood, and freedom in America. And Charlie stood for all those things. His life mattered exceedingly more than someone like myself who's just been a therapist out here wrangling. But to my children, my life is that much more important, and he initiated and believed that first. But in Charlie's passing, it has provided a turning point for our country, and in many ways, people waking up to the reality of what it looks like to be clowned online and what that looks like in real world when people take that sentiment into their real life interactions, and even their political rhetoric pours out onto the streets. It is up to us to make this the turning point towards something great and a future of gratitude in which we can live together in a country and one another can agree that at very least political violence is not the century and the season that we want for our kids in the future.
What made Charlie Kirk important? Just look at the crowd at the very rally where he was shot, the first stop in the America Comeback Tour. A sea of red and white hats, enthusiastic young men and women. This is why President Trump kept Kirk close, and some credit him with Trump's re-election win.
If you've made it this far in the video, I greatly appreciate you watching this Midwestern, midwit, middle-aged, middling man and trying to spout things into the void. And just from the experiences of being a therapist for 13 years, a conservative for more than 10, this has been a great way for me to be encouraged and even to learn a lot from my audience. So I appreciate you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's do this together.